How do you deal with a narcissistic husband that's cheating on you and lying about it? Now, obviously, anybody who's cheating on you, any spouse, it's grounds to just end it all, but it's not always that simple. The lying can complicate things, but the key with understanding them lying to you is understanding the authority that it actually gives you in the relationship. Now, I know you don't see it that way, especially those of you who are dealing with a narcissistic husband that's cheating on you. But if they are, in fact, lying about it, it's an indication that you have more authority than you realize. You have the authority to implement change. And I want to help you tap into that authority in this message. We're going to talk about the various types of cheating that you come across with narcissistic husbands. We're going to talk about why they lie and what it means and how it gives you authority. And then I'm going to give you my best coaching advice on what to do to implement change, either changing their behavior or changing your involvement forever. Let's talk. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I continue with this very important message on dealing with narcissistic husbands that are cheating on you and lying about it, I do want to let you know that I'm here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I do take telephone calls as well as video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. So if you believe you are in a marriage and your narcissistic husband is cheating on you and lying about it, and you're looking for somebody to talk to coach you through this process, head on down there, schedule some time with me right now. I'd love to talk with you. Also, I do have a coaching program. My coaching program is live and in person each and every day. The Royal We coaching program is community-based, where you can be held accountable. So if you're looking for that daily instruction, the daily coaching, and the accountability of a group live every day, then consider joining the Royal We coaching program. All of this and more you can find down in the description box. So head on down there. Don't wait. Get down there and look around. And I look forward to talking with you. Now, let's first talk about the various kinds of cheating that you come across with narcissistic husbands. Now, obviously, you could have the affair, the typical affair with the office woman or the woman in the neighborhood or someone they met at the park or a friend of theirs from long ago or a friend of yours or whatever sick thing they got themselves wrapped up into. But that's only one type of cheating, and it's a horrible type of cheating. None of these are good types of cheating. But as a coach, helping people just like you through this process, I've come across many other forms of cheating that you need to be aware of because you might not look at them as cheating. Okay? Pornography. Heavy use of pornography that you've discovered is also a form of cheating. Visiting massage parlors is also a form of cheating. Strip clubs is a form of cheating. Visiting prostitutes is a form of cheating. So if any of these things are taking place, and there's various other kinds of forms of cheating as well, then yes, you are in fact being cheated on. Now, when it comes to the lying, to begin with, if you've stumbled upon realizing that your narcissistic husband is doing these things, meaning they're not telling you, they haven't told you, you had no clue, you happened to come across it, either on accident or you had suspicions all along and you've discovered some evidence, well, it's an indication that you've been lied to for a long time. So we already know that you've been lied to. Now we're going to get into how they continue to lie to you. They'll lie to you typically by justifying it or by giving some lame excuse. Let's say, for example, you discover that your narcissistic husband is cheating on you because you see texts come in on their phone and the texts look pretty strange. You see texts that say things like, "Are you almost here? I can't wait to see you. Kiss, kiss, hug, hug." Or, "It was great spending time with you last night. I loved it. I hope we can spend a lot more time together." Right? Various things of that sort. Enough to look at it and say, "Oh, that's weird." Especially if the name is Sally or Debbie. Right? Typically, and you're not being told about it. And they may further lie about this by you approaching them saying, "Hey, what's this text message?" And they may say something to the extent of, oh, it's nobody. It's just a friend. It's just a friend of mine. A friend named Sally. Oh, we have made up names. But you talk about how much fun you had last night. Well, what'd you do? I didn't even know you were out last night. Oh, no. We're just joking around after work. And you could see them try to excuse it away. Another form of lying, let's say that you are out vacuuming your car and you come across a receipt. It says Kim Jong-young's happy ending massage. You take this receipt. Interesting. What's this receipt? And they might tell you, well, I injured my sciatic right around here, and it's stiff. I need it worked on. Listen, something's stiff, but it's not no sciatica, right? Nobody goes to Kim Jong-young's happy ending massage because they've got sciatic or stiff neck or plantar fasciitis or any of that stuff. It's excuses. It's lies, okay? Well, let's say you find condoms in the car. You know they're not being used on you, right? So you bring it to the attention. They belong to a friend of mine. Perhaps money is missing out of your account randomly. Lots of it. And you don't know where it's going. I mean, it's not like you got new furniture. You haven't been taken out on a date in a long time. You don't have no gifts. Where's this money going? So you ask them, where's this money going? Maybe some investments. I'm doing some investments, or I loaned it, or I've given it to a friend. Okay. These can be potential lies, enough to raise suspicion. Now let's talk about why a narcissistic husband who's cheating on you would lie. This is where you're going to now gain an understanding of how much authority you actually have to implement change. Now, the reason a narcissistic husband would lie about these things is because he doesn't want to lose you. Plain and simple. It's not necessarily the guilt and the shame. If there's any guilt and shame, he'd stop on his own. He doesn't want to lose you, or at least he doesn't want to lose the image of what you represent. Now, don't take this the wrong way. It doesn't mean he cares for you. It doesn't mean he loves you. It means he does not want to lose you for one reason or another. This gets into the territory of how narcissistic people can objectify you. They don't truly care about you, but they've objectified you. You become a belonging to them, much like a toy. Kind of like a toy to a child, and you've been shelved. You're put up on the shelf collecting dust, but you still belong to them, and nobody else can come into the room and take that toy, right? Child doesn't want anybody else to play with it, but they don't want to play with it. They just want to shelve it and let it get dusty. In a lot of ways, you've been shelved by a narcissistic husband. You're collecting dust up there, right? He doesn't want to play anymore, but he doesn't want you to get out there and play either. This is objectification. I'm gonna make another video talking about that, and I'll post that right here. But the problem is that you're not a toy. You're not a belonging. You're not objectifiable. You're a person. You're a human being. You have rights. You have legs. You have a mouth. You have eyes. You have arms, and you can move. So you don't have to sit on their shelf collecting dust. You can do something. And the fact that they're lying means that they don't want you to know that you can do something. Now, you may not want to do anything because you're too emotionally distraught. You're hurt, you're broken, you feel ashamed, you feel embarrassed simply because you know these things are happening. And typically it's very common when I'm coaching people one-on-one, they're in this place of wondering what's wrong with them. You might be thinking, what's wrong with you? Why doesn't my husband want me? What did they have that I don't? Why are they lying? This and that, and all the emotional stuff. And you're going to go through that, and I get it, that's fine. But what I want to help you to do, and this is key right now. Number one, understand how much authority you have. That's why they're lying, because they don't want you to go. That means you have authority. But number two, we need to look at it differently. I want you to stop looking at it with emotion and instead look at it rationally. I'm going to give you 3 rational perspectives of how bad it is that your narcissistic husband is cheating on you. And you're going to use these rational perspectives to take a stance and to implement change. Are you ready? These are just 3 that I could think of off the top of my head. Number 1, if your narcissistic husband is cheating on you in any of those mentioned forms, either some random woman you met, prostitute, massage parlor, strip club, whatever, automatically you are at the risk for infectious diseases, especially if you're still intimate with them. You don't even have to be intimate with them. Sharing a shower with them, for crying out loud. Right? Now, I'm no medical expert, but I do believe that this gives you ground rationally to stand on, to now say, wait a minute, is my husband worth me getting infected or sick because of his foolish decisions? So that's rational decision number one. That's a practical, rational foundation to stand on. It's grounds to stand on to build a case, number one. Number two, financially, while he's out running around, having affairs, spending money, massage parlors, prostitutes, whatever, the money's disappearing from your account too. That's your savings being tapped into as well. That's your household income. Now you risk being poor. You risk poverty. Once again, ask yourself, practically speaking, rationally speaking, is your husband worth your financial instability? Right? Last but not least, number three that I could think of, it puts you in danger. There's crazy people out there. And if your narcissistic husband is out doing crazy, dumb things with dumb people out there, crazy, dumb people out there, well, God only knows what that could mean. Perhaps he's dealing with psychopaths that then might find out that he's married and then look at you as being in their way to their idealized life with your husband. This stuff happens. There's crazies out there. I'm reminded of that movie Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise. Just popped in my head. How many of you have seen that movie, Vanilla Sky? Tom Cruise is driving, or the woman's driving in the car, and she starts yelling, screaming, "I'm giving you blowjobs and it means nothing." And whoop, drove him right off the edge of a bridge. It's crazy people out there. And you want nothing to do with that. So let's look real quick again at the three most common rational foundations to stand on to implement change. Number one is, right, the risk of infection, disease. That's no good. You don't want that gift, the gift that keeps on giving. You want no part of that. Number two, financial instability as a result of them doing what they're doing. And number three, the danger and the risk for you. Now with these things, now with this rational case that you have built, now you can approach it from a different angle. Now you're not crying, saying, "What's wrong with me? Why don't you love me? After everything I've done for you, blah, blah, blah," on and on. Now you have three rational things to stand firm on. I'm not going to get infected because of you. I'm not going to become poor because you're spending our money. I'm not going to be put in danger. So either you change or I'm out. And you use those three grounded, foundational, rational thinking examples as a base, as a foundation to stand your ground. And now I'm going to give you my best coaching advice on where to go with this so you're not alone. Okay. Number one, I'm going to give you two ideas, two thoughts here. Number one, be careful with this one, by the way. This comes along with an if, as long as, right? Take it to his family. But this is only if you have a good relationship with them. If they're good people, if they're just as toxic and dysfunctional as your narcissistic husband is, then don't bother. You'll end up being blamed and horrible things will happen, right? But if they're good people, right? They like you. They love your husband, then go to them first. It's better to go to his family than to embarrass him with your friends or whatever. Go to his family and say, "Here's what's happening. I'm finding these receipts to massage parlors. I'm seeing these text messages to whatever. Our money is disappearing out of our account, and I have reason, suspicion, to believe that he's spending it on women and these other things. And here's the deal. I don't want to get infection. I'm scared for my health. I don't want to go poor and broke because he's spending our money. I'm worried that he's dealing with violent, hostile people." Put in their hands and allow them to do whatever family intervention so they can contact him and say, "Dude, are you seeing prostitutes? What is going on with you?" And you could also add this. He's either going to change and you're going to help him change, or I'm gone. And you get to set the time limit. And you get to set the conditions of what you want. For example, you could say, I from now on want to know where he's going. And I want him to report to me. You get to really play boss here. He's going to report to me. I'm going to know where the car is at all times. I'm going to keep track of our bank accounts. Every dollar is going to go through me. You get to set what you feel safe with to even stay in the marriage. This is the authority you now have. Okay? So that's the first one. Go to his family only if you can. Number two, if you can't go to his family, where else can you go? You could do the same thing to a church pastor or a counselor that you're seeing. Don't go to counselors or pastors hoping that you could just cry because he's hurting you and you can't believe he's doing this and you think that this is blah, 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 cry. They're going to look at you as being the problem. Once again, you go there with the case that you've built, the rational case. I'm not getting sick for him. I'm not going poor for him. I am not going to be threatened because he's messing around with dangerous people. Now you lay that on the lap of the counselor. You lay that on the lap of the pastor and let them deal with it. You put the ultimatum. These things change, and here's my conditions. I'm in control of all the finances. I want them in some form of counseling on their own. I want them in church on their own. I want them to be in accountability on their own. You now say what you want to see happen. This is the control you have. Or you leave. Do you see the authority that you have when you look at it from a rational perspective? And now, one thing I'd like to say here is that even if your narcissistic husband changes, your relationship will never be what it once was, simply because he did, in fact, step out and involve himself in this cheating. So you can't do this expecting it to have the relationship that you once did. But you can enter into a more functional relationship, one where at least you feel safe, to where you're not going to get an infection, you're not going to go broke, and you're not going to have the risk of danger. And the key to understanding the authority, again, of doing this is the fact that they're lying about it. Use their lying against them. That's what we're doing. Use their lying against them. If they're lying, it means they're afraid to lose you. So use that. That is your power move to implement change. And either they're going to change. And by the way, it's not going to change them as a person, but it will change the habits that are pretty scary and messed up and can hurt you and them. And if they're not willing to change those things through their family's intervention, through a church pastor's intervention, then you have to be able to say, I have no other choice, but I'm leaving. All right? Well, listen, that's what I wanted to share with you in this message. Thank you for watching it. I know that this is difficult territory to talk about. I am here to help you, to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I do take telephone calls as well as video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. So if you're looking for that one-on-one help, schedule it with me. I'll be waiting for you, and I'll be back with more videos for you right here on The Royal We.